And this time we sit down and speak with some men about what they know about women's health and the period.
Or what they think they know.
It's so true.
Yes. So our first question is, do you have a period story?
Yes. Yeah, I have a fear story that I like to share. Yeah. Okay, so growing up, I used to have a friend who every once in a while, I guess when we reached that age, like 13 or whatever, every once in a while she'd be like, once in a while she'd be like, oh, she got stomach cramps or something, and I never really understood why why she'd always have stomach cramps, and then one day I just started putting it together, going to school, learning sex education. I was like, is stomach cramps period? Is she just having a period and she's saying she's having stomach cramps? I'm just thinking like maybe she's just sick all the time, like every month she gets sick or something, But then I had to put it together like, oh, stomach cramps or stomach pain or I don't feel well today just may mean that the person just having a period. So I had to kind of learn that through, you know, just figuring it out. Yeah. So I guess that's I remember when I first learned that, and anytime a woman would say, she's having stomach pain, I just assumed she probably having a period right now. That's what happened. That's how I learned about periods, I guess, in my way, I guess.
So at the time, it was when I was working with one of my friends, and I was her supervisor. So I kind of noticed like she was a bit, she wasn't moving the way that she normally moved, excuse me. So she was a little bit like, and I was like, and I asked her like, "Are you okay?" and stuff. She's like, it's just a little like a personal situation. Don't worry about it too much. So I wasn't really trying to think about it, but again, it's like I could kind of see it's like I could tell something was different about her, and I was like, I wasn't sure. Like, it wasn't necessarily that she was irritable, but you could kind of see in her face that she was in some kind of discomfort. So I asked her again, maybe like 30 minutes later, like, hey, are you sure everything's okay? And she's like, it's just, my monthly visitor. So I was just like, I wasn't thinking, I wasn't putting two and two together. And she's like, I was like, well, what do you mean? And she looked at me like, seriously, Kev? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But she's like, no, I'm on my period. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I apologize because like I didn't like for me, I didn't want to intrude on her in like her personal space. Because again, I understand like that's not something that people like a woman would normally tell like, hey, announcing it to people. But I was like, listen, if it's a situation because it kind of does seem like we can see the discomfort on your face. I'm not gonna sit down here and try and treat you like you're in a separate space. But like if it's something where you kind of might need just a couple minutes to kind of like, hey, sort through whatever you have to sort through, that's fine. But she's like, no, it's okay, and it's just like just being mindful. And that for me, that was my first like period story.
What I would describe as my period story would be the innocence of a 10 to 11-year-old boy walking from school with his cousins, maybe his twin cousins, right? Walking home and observing his cousins reacting quite weird, quite differently than they were accustomed to behaving. So they were walking, I was behind, because being the older cousin by 3 months, I wanted to be the protector. So I'm ensuring that everybody is walking in a line and everybody is good. I saw my cousin take their lunch bag and put it behind their back after getting a message from the other cousin. I didn't hear what the message was, but all of a sudden, the cousin started hiding her bum. And on what should be like a 15-minute walk, let's say 12 out of the 15 minutes, she was covering her bum. And I was like, I never see them do that before. This is weird. So when we got home, she removed her hand, and I was like, but oh gosh, like she fell down in school and she didn't say anything, or because I seen blood. And I could, at that time, I only associated blood with, you fell down, you got a cut, some kind of bruise. Mm-hmm. So I was like, what going on? So eventually, I mean, I think my mom or my grandmom explained what, you know, the menstrual cycle or period to me. Still, it went way over my head. I was like, okay. To me, it just I was able to calm down a little and say, okay, well, I guess this is something that happens. I still don't understand what's going on. I know nothing about it. But I always remember that story as my introduction to, well, this is something that happens to young ladies or women.
The distraught that women or young ladies felt when they experienced their first period. So like they would go to the washroom and it would be crazy because they would call the teacher and start freaking out. And so everybody would kind of have an idea of what was going on. And then like everybody would be fishing to get like all like the pad or the tampon or whatever they may use. It's always kind of crazy. Like everybody's story is kind of the same. They go to the toilet and they call out for the teacher because it's a period. Right? That's most of what I saw. And it happened to, I can remember in primary school, in like the last year of primary school, it happened to like 4 young ladies in like the same week.
Did you have a period talk with an adult sibling or friend? And were there any specific details that you remembered? If you had a talk.
I had a brief talk. I didn't say we had an extensive talk about what a period is, the cycle, it happens every month or, you know, thereof. So I don't know if I could call it a story, but it was just a brief explanation to quell my fears that something was wrong with my cousin.
The closest I did have is like maybe like it was a friend where she kind of explained like, you know, just like how it can be uncomfortable and just like the different changes how a woman's body can go through during that period of time. So that was the closest, but actually like explaining in depth of how things actually happen. Nah.
I never had a talk. Like I never had an official talk. I learned most of what I learned from hearing from other women.
Man, I think, was it? I don't remember exactly. I feel like there was different angles that I was learning about. It's from I learned about periods from just different angles, you know, because definitely not from my parents. Definitely not from my mom.
Oh. So, as a father, do you think you would sit down and have a talk with your son?
Oh yeah, I think definitely, yeah. I would want him to just understand, you know, as much as possible about, you know, the things that people go through, you know, difference between being a man and being a woman, and just you know, and just how God set us up physically, and why we're different in the physical aspect.
And with my son, I could probably tell him about it. But you see, I might tell him more in a kind of wisecrack way, because men deal with periods every month, especially if they go through, your significant other goes through severe PMS. And every guy gets to know what that is. And there's a window. I honestly thinking about putting the app on my phone and asking when was your last period, so I could track the window in which I need to be on my best behavior. And I will, in turn, I'll say, son, let me tell you the window when you should ask for stuff, when you should be on your best behavior, when you should try to love mommy from afar and sister from afar. Because, yeah, I don't know, I'm guessing obviously it's the hormonal changes or whatever, but sometimes the period be rough for the man too. So that's the kind of knowledge I would give to my son.
Yeah, I would want to be part of that conversation, because I do think that it is, like, honestly, as men, like, we shouldn't walk around on eggshells. Like, we should actually have a better understanding of it. So even again, like, you can better, one, help normalize it for your sons, so that way they understand, like, listen, this is a part of a woman's body and like a process that a woman's go through. Help normalize it, and even like help your daughter understand when she's going through certain things, because again, like, for a long time, it's like, oh my God, a lot of women say, oh, period. No, I don't want to hear about it. Like, we kind of got to move past that point of view.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I think that's good. Have you had a conversation about um, a period with someone from the opposite sex?
Yeah, I did. I definitely had the talk, and it was very intense. And then, but after a while, I began to understand it, and it became more, I guess, normalized through the conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and a lot of women have experience different things. It's kind of crazy. The extremes that people have.
Mm-hmm.
I would usually talk about the symptoms with a female.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have a conversation about, as I said, the biology and the specifics.
That's good. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most confident, how confident or knowledgeable do you feel about women menstruation?
Man, scale of 1 to 10. Dang, I feel like I know something, but I don't want to say 10 and then I get everything wrong about anything. So maybe I'll say like 6 or something. I'll say like a 6 or a 7 or something like that.
7.5.
Very high scale. Very high scale.
Yeah.
About you know what, 6.5. I'll be honest.
I would say a solid 6.
Oh, at what age did you learn that women got their periods?
17.
At the age of 10 or 11.
Around between 8 to 10. I can't remember the exact age, but around 8 to 10, because I was in primary school and in the upper classes.
So I don't know what the exact age, but and I don't remember exactly where I learned it, but I just felt like it's something that I just came to know, and then I just understood it.
Have you ever missed school or work because you were with someone who had their period? You were supporting someone who had their period?
I didn't miss work, but I did miss class. It was when I was in college. A friend of mine, it was really, really bad for her, and it was like a lot of pain and stuff. And I was like, all right, listen, hey, I can't sit down there and say I know what you're going through, but I'll do my best to try and help you feel better, at least in this time in this situation.
No, I had never had.
Yes, I was in Cuba, and I had my best friend, my riding partner was a girl, right? And we had all the same classes together. So I remember that she was in so much pain. She had it so bad. I had to kind of ensure that she was good. And it just caused me to miss one class, a Spanish class, that I know I could have missed. If it was a maths class, sorry. But a Spanish class, I can miss a Spanish class to make sure you have what you need.